Hello 10th class students. Today in this video we will start a new chapter of the 10th class. Chapter number 3, metals and non-metals. In this chapter students, we will study about the physical and chemical properties of the metals as well as non-metals, their reactions, the extraction of some metals, and about the different properties of the metals and non-metals. So students, let's start this chapter. First of all, in this chapter, let's understand what are metals and what are non-metals. So students, there are different criteria or different properties on the basis of which we determine whether the given substance is metal or non-metal. There are some physical properties on the basis of which we determine whether the given substance is metal or non-metals, and there are some chemical criteria also on the basis of which we also decide that whether the given substance is metal or non-metals. So first of all students, let's see what are the physical properties of the metals. First of all, if we talk about the physical properties of the metal, then we see that the surface of the metal is shining. Its surface have some luster. So if you see the gold, silver, then you observe that these substances have some characteristic shining. That shining is due to their reflective surface. Second thing students, if you beat the metal with the help of hammer or some other solid things, then they produce some sound or they produce some characteristic sound. Whenever the bell in your school is rang with the help of some hammer or some iron rod, then it produces loud sound. So second thing is they are sonorous. The metals are generally sonorous. They produces sound whenever they are beaten with the help of the hammer. You can practical this application students at your home. If you beat anything that is made up of iron, aluminum or any other metal, it will produce some sound. Next property of this metal is students that the metals are good conductor of electricity. You have seen in our houses students, the wire which used for conduction of the electricity are generally made up of aluminum or copper. So students, aluminum and copper both are metal. In fact, they are the very good conductor of the electricity. Different types of the metals have different conductivities at room temperature. So metals are good conductor of electricity. This is also an important property of the metals. Next property of the metal is students, you have if you think in general, then you see that metals are generally hard. All the metals that are found around us in general way are hard. Some may be soft, and only mercury is the metal which is found in liquid state at room temperature. So we cannot say that all metals are hard, but some metals are generally hard. Some metals like phosphorus, sodium, they can easily be cut with the help of the knife. But most of the metals like iron, gold, silver, aluminum, copper, tin, all are generally hard. So they are generally solid and hard. Let's code them in the form of the points. The next and important property of the metal is that, students, metal can be drawn in the form of wire. We call this property as ductility or ductile. So, ductile metals are generally ductile. Ductile, that means, students, they can be drawn in the form of wire. Wire can be made by the metals. So, this property of being drawn in the form of the wire is called ductile or ductility. Next is, students, just imagine that you have a rod of iron and you start beating it with the help of hammer. If you will continuously beat the rod of the iron with the help of hammer, then you will see that the rod of the iron will get converted in the form of thin sheet. So, this property of the metal being drawn in the form of sheet is called malleability or malleable. That is the reason why silver and gold are used for making ornaments. Very thin ornaments can be made with the help of gold and silver, because silver and gold can be converted into very thin foil, very thin sheet. You have seen aluminium foil used to wrap the food materials. That foil is very thin. So, that is the reason that metals are malleable. Malleable, that means, students, the metals can be beaten in the form of thin sheet. This property is called malleable. So, students, here we have the properties of the metals, that is, they are lustrous, means they have shining surface. Second, they are sonorous, that means whenever they are beaten with the help of some solid things, they produces characteristic sound. Next is, they are good conductor of heat and electricity. You have seen that whenever we heat the cooking utensils, then their upper surface also get heated. This is because they conduct the heat from the bottom to the top of the surface. Next is, students, generally they are hard and solid. The metals are generally hard and solid. Next is, they are ductile. That means they can be easily beaten in the form of the wire. They can drawn easily in the form of the wire. And the next property is malleability. That means, students, whenever we beat them with the hammer, they get converted into a thin sheet. Students, there is an activity given in your book in order to show the conductivity of the metals for heat. In order to show that metals are good conductor of the heat, there is an activity given in your book, and activity is somehow like this. This is a clamp and an iron rod of this type is being attached with the clamp. Now, students, if this rod is heated here with the help of a candle, if we heat this rod with the help of the candle, then after some time you will, if you touch this point of this end of the rod, then you will find that this end of the rod is get heated. If the rod is bad conductor of heat, then only this much surface should get heated. But if this rod is made up of iron or any other metal, then whole rod will get heated. It shows students that the heat is slowly getting transferred throughout the rod. That heat get transferred up to the end of the rod. This activity shows that the metals are good conductor of heat. There is also another activity given in your book in order to test the electrical conductivity of the substances. By this activity, we can easily test the conductivity of the substances, whether the given substance is good conductor of the electricity or bad conductor of the electricity. So students, in order to get set up the activity, let's start. There is an electric cell that you can easily get from your nearby shop. You have studied in lower class that there are two terminals of the electrical cell. One is positive and other is negative. And students, here you took two wires through which here you connected one bulb, and second wire you have a gap in between the second wire, and this wire is again connected into negative terminal. So students, now in order to check whether the given substance is good conductor or bad conductor, we have to put that substance in between these 2 points. We can say it point A and point B. Suppose I want to check whether this chalk is good conductor of the electricity or not. Then I will put this chalk in between these 2 points, points A and point B. So students, if this chalk is good conductor of electricity, then this will conduct the electricity from negative terminal to the bulb and the bulb will glow. So if the substance which we put it in between the point A and B is good conductor of electricity, then bulb will start glowing. But if the substance is bad conductor or non-conductor of the electricity, then bulb will not glow, it will remains off. So students, with the help of this activity, we can easily check whether the given substance is good conductor or bad conductor of electricity. And we have studied that all metals are good conductor of electricity. But it doesn't mean that all non-metals are bad conductor of electricity. Graphite, a type of carbon, you have studied it in lower class. Graphite, which is an allotrope of the carbon, is good conductor of electricity. Graphite we can see in our day-to-day life in the form of the pencil. The area or the portion of the pencil with the help of which we write, that is black in color, is made up of graphite. So students, if you put a pencil sharpened by both the sides, sharpened from both the sides like this, you have sharpened it from both the sides, and if you put this pencil in between these 2 points, then you will see that bulb will glow. It shows that graphite is good conductor of electricity. But graphite is a non-metal, but due course of the availability of the free electron, is possess the capacity to conduct the electricity. So students, this is the activity in order to find the conductivity of the substances. Now let's see some exceptions in the metals which are not in general properties of the metal, or some non-metals which shows the physical properties just like the metal. For example, metal mercury. This mercury occurs in liquid form at the room temperature. We have seen that metals are generally in solid state, but mercury is in liquid state at normal room temperature. And other metals like potassium, sodium, these are found in very soft state at room temperature. They are very soft and as much as soft that they can easily be cut with the help of the knife. Second thing is iodine, students. Iodine is actually a non-metal, but it shines like a metal. Its surface have the shining luster as that of the metal, but it is non-metal. Third thing we have seen graphite. Graphite is a form of carbon and carbon is a non-metal. As we have seen that all the metals are good conductor of the electricity and non-metals are bad conductor of the electricity, but we have also seen that graphite is a non-metal but still it is good conductor of the electricity. So students, all these are the basic properties, all these are the physical properties of the metals. So if we decide on the basis of the physical properties that whether the given substance is metal or non-metal, it is quite confusing because some non-metals possesses the physical property similar to that of the metal and some metals possesses property similar to that of the non-metal. So in order to more clearly distinguish the metals and non-metals, we will take the chemical properties of the metal and non-metal. Because due course of the chemical properties, we can easily distinguish the metal and non-metals. Generally students, metals when reacts with oxygen, they form the oxides and that oxides are basic in nature. They form basic oxides and non-metals generally form acidic oxides. So students, this is the major difference, major chemical difference in metals and in between metals and non-metals, that metals produces basic oxides and non-metals produces acidic oxide. But students, sometimes the metallic oxides may be acidic as well as basic. That means they may react with acid and with base also in order to produce the salt. So such oxides of the metals which are acidic as well as basic in nature, that oxides are known as amphoteric oxides. We call them amphoteric oxides. Let's see. Amphoteric oxides, these are the oxides which are in acidic as well as basic in nature. That means they can react with the acid as well as base in order to form the salt and water. Let's see which oxides can be acidic. So first Al2O3, that is aluminium oxide, is of amphoteric nature, metallic oxide. Second is zinc oxide, also is of amphoteric nature. So student, it is very important topic that amphoteric oxide. What are amphoteric oxide? Oxides of the metals which behaves as acidic as well as basic in nature. That means they can react with acid as well as with base in order to produce the salt. Let's see some example. Let's see the reaction of the aluminium oxide with acid as well as with base. So here students, if we make a reaction of the aluminum oxide and aluminum hydroxide, aluminum oxide with the acid and base. So first reaction is with acid, that is Al2O3 plus HCl. This reaction will yield in the production of aluminum chloride AlCl3 and water molecule. So if we balance this reaction, students, then hydrogen six, two aluminum, oxygen and 3. 6, 3 2s are 6, 3 oxygen, 2 aluminum and 6 hydrogen, 3 2s are 6 hydrogen. So students, in this reaction, aluminum oxide is reacting with hydrochloric acid, that is with the acid, to form aluminum chloride, a salt. Let's see second reaction of the same aluminum oxide with sodium hydroxide, that is a strong base. Then students, sodium aluminate, that is NaAlO2 plus water molecule is formed. Let's balance this equation. Aluminum is already balanced, sodium, oxygen 2 and here is also 2. So 2 sodium, 2 aluminum, 3, 4, 5, 4 and 5, 2 hydrogen. This reaction is balanced now. So you can see, students, that aluminum hydroxide is reacting with both acid as well as with base in order to form the salts. This is sodium aluminate. Its name is sodium aluminate. So students, this is the amphoteric oxide which can react with acid as well as with base. Now students, let's see how the metals combine with oxygen to form this metallic oxide. We have seen some oxidation reactions in chapter first, that is chemical reaction and chemical equation. So students, whenever nearly every metal reacts with oxygen to give metallic oxides, that means that oxygen will get combined with metals. Let's see one example, that is when copper reacts with oxygen, this will give a combination reaction and copper oxide, that is CuO, will form. Now if we balance this reaction, then 2 oxygen and 2 copper. So in this reaction, copper is combining with oxygen to form copper oxide. Let's see the reaction with aluminum. When aluminum reacts with oxygen, then Al2O3, that is aluminum oxide, is formed. If we balance this reaction, then oxygen 3, so it will be 3 and 2 aluminum will be here. So this reaction is balanced now. So students, in this way the metals get reacted with oxygen to form metallic oxides, and generally the metallic oxides are basic in nature and non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. But we have seen about the amphoteric oxides. Amphoteric oxides are the oxides of the metals which possess the characteristics of acid as well as basic oxides. They can react with acid as well as with base in order to neutrifying reaction and produces salt of the consecutive or related metals.